This is the shore on 88.4 and the waves keep crushing in.
Today with MadBall.
So one sweet day in 1988, probably on a Sunday, Agnostic Front played in the CBGB. Sunday was the Sunday matinee, also called the Trash Day, where hardcore concerts were held from afternoon till late night, and introduced MadBall on the stage. And MadBall then consisted of Agnostic Front's vocalist Roger Merritt on the bass, Vinnie Stigma on guitar, Will Shepner on drums, and then the 12-year-old vocalist Freddie Gritchen, which was Roger Merritt's younger half-brother. The first release was Ball of Destruction, and after a few years playing in smaller venues all over, they got a second guitarist called Matt Anderson, and then they put out an EP called Strappin' Many Suckers. After that, Roger Merritt left the band and got replaced by Rock Hoyer, who played in DMISE, another hardcore band. And I was talking to Rock Hoyer, a really much too nice guy, because I had a really bad day and didn't talk to anybody. Never do that. Okay.
MadBall started off in 1988 and had their first gig in the East Village in the notorious CBGBs in New York, the birthplace of USA punk rock, as the title goes. And as I do, I check out what else happened that year. On the 6th and 7th August happened that year. On the 6th and 7th of August, a riot was held down the road from CBGB, the official birthplace of MadBall, that helped to develop lots of bands' careers, such as Blondie, New York Dolls, Television, Patti Smith, Talking Heads, Agnostic Front since 1975. So close by this venue is this Thompson Square Park. And this is where the riot went down. Prior to the year 1988, the East Village in Manhattan, and especially the Tompkins Square, became apparently a hangout place for the homeless and the rowdy youth. The East Village was also formerly known as Klein Deutschland. That was the area in New York where the German immigrants would first settle. Back to the riot. It was about gentrification, and I did talk to the guitarist of MadBall briefly about the subject matter, and found out afterwards that members of the band actually have been squatters themselves. As you know, hardcore involves also from the DIY punk movement. So some of these homeless in 1983 occupied the park and squatted 88. Some of this homeless in New York 1988 occupied the park and squatted the park, building a tent city, while the tenants and neighbors still use the park as a public park that is closely located to New York's famous Wall Street. So it's a rather fancy area. And naturally, the city of New York didn't like this mess and decided to clean up the park in the middle of the night. 4 homeless got injured, and the next day 700 people turned up to defend the squatters. Or it turned out the squatters and homeless had friends. Facing the 700 demonstrators was 450 police officers, partly on horses, and a helicopter. The demonstrators granted gentrification as class war, and at the end of the day there were 38 injured. During this riot, 9 people were arrested for rioting, assault and other charges. There were 6 police complaints about police brutality logged and 100 complaints filed. Since journalists from the New York Post and other big media got beaten up in this riot, the riot became a major event. Allen Ginsberg was also there. If you don't know who Allen Ginsberg is, you suck. But also there were the fine artists Paul Guerin and Clayton Patterson, and a lot of press and media who got a fine beating. The Industrial Missing Anarchist Foundation was there too, and their sign is an upside down martini glass. And if you don't find Peter missing in Berlin, check out the band. Lou Reed wrote a song called Hold On. And also, if you're a musical fan, the director of the musical Rent plays the riot in a scene in this musical.
still before the interview, we hear the band Leftover Crack residents in the East Village area, or who regularly play at the yearly memorial of the Thompson Square riots. And then we hear a funny song of Allen Ginsberg. Exclusive for you, the interview with the best bassist in the world of the best hardcore band in the world, the creme de la creme of hardcore, MadBall. That was the most professional interview I actually did. I sound really wacky. I had total mayhem the night before, lost all my notes, crashed my computer, and the guys still did bear with me and turned out to be really decent. MadBall is good for you. You are gonna buy a CD.
Okay, how are you?
Good.
I read all of the MadBall lyrics.
Okay.
And I do like them. What was the very first song you ever wrote? Did you ever write songs for Mad?
Yeah, I've been writing. I've been in the band since 2001. So I've been writing since the first record I wrote for was for Legacy, which we put out in 2005. And yeah, so ever since then.
So what was the song about?
Oh, I don't write lyrics. No lyrics. Just music, just guitar parts. Freddie writes all the lyrics.
But you know all the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Okay, so because I did the interview all about the lyrics.
Oh, jeez. I can do my best. You know, I mean, but it's, yeah, that Freddie writes the lyrics. You know, most of our lyrics are based in life experiences, and you know, it's not like fantasy topics. It's more, you know, things that we've gone through as people and as a band, and things like that. Songs about the music industry, about life, about things in the streets. You know, every kind of topic you can imagine like that.
Okay, and you play the guitar.
I play the guitar, yes.
What was your first band then?
The first band I played for that was anything established was Crown of Thorns, which was Isaac is the singer, and I got to know him first, and that's how I ended up getting him to play for MadBall, because he's friends with Freddie and Hoya, and so I started to play in 1997. I played for Crown of Thorns, and then after that I played for Scarhead, and then into MadBall in 2001.
Okay, on your new record, because of this, there's a song called Doc Martens Stomp.
Yes.
And that's a gang where you and the Thorns people are in.
Sure.
What kind of gang is this?
We don't want to say a gang. That's not a word we like to use. We're basically talking about a family of people, that more of a family or a brotherhood, that is something that kind of been the topic of a lot of songs that we write sometimes, but it's just a bunch of guys from that grew up together in New York, and we've grown like that together and brought in more people.
But you started that gang when you were 16, 17?
Again, I don't want to say the word. We don't want to say the word gang, but
yeah,
but it's there were guys. The original guys started it when they were their teens. Right, 15, 16, 17.
And you did graffiti as well?
I don't, but a lot of our people do, yeah.
On Rebellion, there's a police riot on the cover. Why is this?
The whole theme of he wrote a song called Rebellion, and it was, it's just continuation of the same theme from maybe a record we had before that. We had a record called Infiltrate the System. Just questioning authority and not necessarily going by what society and the government and things like that tell you to do, and just kind of making your own path in life and being independent of things like that.
Is that song, that song Rebellion is specific on one situation?
No, it wasn't. It was more just an overall statement.
In the song Danger Zone, and you probably can tell me something about this because you live in New York.
Sure.
It says, "There's a new breed that walks so carelessly, but it's not braver. Gentrification has bred confidence." Nonsense.
Yeah.
What do you mean by this?
He's talking about how New York City New York City has become a very trendy place to live now. I mean, you have a lot of people that move there from other parts of the United States that don't remember when it used to be a very dangerous place. It was always a great place to live, but back, years ago, it was a lot more edgy and not so safe as it is now. And I think a lot of people don't respect the neighborhoods like we grew up. We grew up respecting them because they were cultural and they were fun and there was a lot of good things there, but it was also very dangerous. And people that move there nowadays don't really understand that. And he's singing about like, hey, you come here, you're the newcomer here, you should respect it and you should understand that this wasn't always this safe.
Okay, but safety is a good thing, no?
Safety is a good thing, but safety is also, I agree. Of course, nobody wants crime and street crime and things like that. But when I grew up, I didn't grow up in New York City, but I spent a lot of time there when I was younger, and you had to really watch your step because it wasn't the safest place in the world, and it makes you respect other people in a way that you don't when everything's fine. It teaches you to mind your own business. It teaches you to not to disrespect people because you could be rude to somebody and they might pull out a gun and shoot you. Now that's not wrong. I mean, that's not right, but the result of the fact that it taught me to always be respectful to everybody around me, well, that's a good thing, because I don't want to cause a problem with somebody unless I know that, you know what I'm saying?
So I've got this imagination of neoliberal bullies running around.
No, it's not a political thing. It's not a political thing. It was just
rich bullies who push out gentrification is about money, no?
Rich people, yeah.
Yeah.
And those rich people don't. The problem is that those rich people come, and the things that they want to accommodate them, like chain shops and the comforts that they want, are pushing away all the culture and all the art and all the character that was in that neighborhood in the first place. That's why they wanted to come there. And now there's no more music venues. Now there's no more art galleries. Now there's no more cheap places to live because all these rich people came and they want their coffee shop not to be a small coffee shop. They want Starbucks, and now they want, instead of, an individually owned store to go shop in, it's this big corporate store now because whatever. And now all the old school, like the older buildings, apartment buildings, are all getting knocked down to build these luxury high-rise apartment buildings for these people. So the neighborhood is losing its culture.
Yeah, but in Germany they say that the punk scene is the seed for the gentrification, actually.
I can understand what they mean. That's kind of sad.
Okay. Now I've watched a lot of hardcore documentaries, right? And I hardly seen any female. I haven't seen any female bands being mentioned. I didn't see lots of girls in the pits. So, why do you think is this?
I mean, I don't necessarily understand it. I mean, I think that hard music in general, heavy metal and hardcore and punk has always been mostly male audience. There are women at the show. There are girls at the shows. There are girls in bands. We just did on our new record. We had a guest vocal from Candace from Walls of Jericho. She's a female singer. There's other. I know bands back home that there's girls in. There's multiple girls in some bands. But yeah, it is a predominantly male scene. I can't explain why. It's just the nature of the music.
I saw Walls of Jericho the other day and they have a great energy. Listen to them.
And what is actually hardcore? Because you sing a lot about bringing the culture and
about the underground culture of hardcore. So what's hardcore then?
I mean, hardcore was a music form that came from punk rock in the late '70s and the early '80s, but for us, it's not just a music form anymore. It's also a culture as well. It's just, you know, it's a music scene that we've all grown up in, going to shows, and now as musicians, we've met, you know, an entire family of people through this. It's, you know, good friends, family. So to us, it's not just the music; it's also the culture of the music scene that we're a part of.
Okay. We fight we the people. You say we fight for blood, money, being supreme. You fight for Almighty to control human beings, and so on.
Yeah.
What do you mean by this? And what news media do you read? And what did they tell you about Germany? So what do you mean by this? We fight for the
Well, that song, I think that song was just discussing just wars and the concept of how, you know, what motivates nations to go to war. I think he's kind of saying that it's more, you know, some people go to war over because their government tells them to. Some people are going to war because their religion tells them to. It's really not making so much a statement as it is just kind of questioning, like, what's the motivation behind things like that.
What news media do you read?
A lot of internet, like a CNN, or in the U.S. we have National Public Radio is a good news source. You know, just television news back home. You know, it's maybe the BBC. If I'm overseas right now, we can get the BBC sometimes on the television.
What did they tell you about Germany?
What do you mean? What specific?
That I would assume that Freddie MadBall, because you're touring a lot of Berlin and Germany.
Sure.
And Freddie MadBall was having a hip hop song with a rapper from
Yes.
Berlin.
Well, I mean, Germany.
Yeah, what did you get told about Berlin?
I mean, we've been coming to Berlin. I've been coming to Berlin for 15, 16 years now. It's a great city. It's a very cultural city. It's a very artistic city. We have a lot of friends here. So, you know, and Germany on the whole is a very strong market for hardcore. So it's somewhere that we come very often. You know, we play more shows in Germany in a year sometimes than we do in the United States. You know, so it's definitely a place we're very familiar with. I didn't really, you know, the media tell me about Germany. I've been coming here so long, I've kind of made up my own opinion. I don't really listen to what the news back home is going to tell me, you know.
So you've got friends here in Berlin?
Yes.
Do you have rapper friends as well?
I don't. Freddie does, yes.
And what do you do on the tour bus?
Sleep.
Do you
Hang out, listen to music, watch movies, sleep.
Do you read, or are you into design as well? Are you
Design?
Yeah.
No.
Really not. So you never wrote a song. Never wrote.
I haven't
lyrics?
written any lyrics for this band, no.
But for not different bands.
I've written lyrics over time, yeah, with other bands.
Can you say some?
Say what?
Say lyrics.
20 minutes in and still no poetry lyric as such. Anyways, we listen now to Doc Martens Stomp with a lovely video which starts off with the lyrics. It's not tough talk, it's evolution. It's a black and blue revolution. And then we continue.
What does PYITF mean?
Oh, that was okay. So that song was almost every record we do a song that's almost like a joke. It's not a joke, but it's not the most serious song. That was called Punch You in the Face, Part 2. Part 3, actually, it was called. And it was a joke that a friend of ours called us one time. He said, hey, you guys ought to make a song called Punch You in the Face, Part 3. So we did. We wrote it like that. But we abbreviated it because it make people try to figure out what it is.
And you say you have a problem with rock stars on that song. So, what do you mean by rock star?
I think that was just talking about people who put up an image that they don't necessarily live, like a false image. If I remember the lyrics right from that, it was something like people that pretend to be something that they're not.
And are you a studio musician as well?
Am I a what?
A studio musician.
Studio musician? No, not so much. No, I don't play. I don't play any studio stuff. I mean, I play. Sometimes I've played with other bands. I'll fill in sometimes for H2O that's with us tonight, but no studio work really. Just for MadBall.
What's your profession?
I'm a musician. It's my profession.
Can you speak German?
Not well enough to say right now. I try.
Did you go sightseeing in Berlin?
Yes, I've been sightseeing many times here.
What did you go along?
I've seen the Brandenburg Gate and the Reichstag and the Olympic Stadium before, and what else? Berliner Dome. All the major tourist things.
What bands are your favorites?
What bands are my favorites?
Yeah, at the moment.
At the moment, I'm listening to a band called Triptychon, which is a metal band from Switzerland. What else? I don't know. I like everything. I like a little rock and roll. I like a little pop stuff. A lot of metal, hardcore, big variety.
You like pop?
Yes.
What do you like?
Just like not necessarily one artist, but like some radio, like dance stuff is a nice break from the heavy music. Sometimes when you're on a tour like this and you're listening to heavy hardcore every night, you want a little break from it.
Yesterday you brought out DNA, no?
Yes, we put out just a lyric video, they called it. It's not like a performance, but just something to give people a taste of the new song from the new record.
You're gonna make a weird video for this?
I hope so, yeah.
Why is there the two boys in the video of the All or Nothing?
Why is it? I don't understand
what's the story with the two boys in the video?
It was just a concept video where they, they wanted to show them like during the day, and then they're going to a show at night, and then just walking around New York City and just taking in different things that were themes in the song.
And how long do you take for writing a song?
It depends. We usually put it together over the course of a day when we have the parts. If we have the different pieces of music, and then we all get together and we work on how much each part's going to go for, and how much if we need any more pieces to it, and then we usually can finish it in about a day.
Come in the rehearsal room and jam.
Exactly.
Are you finished the next album?
Well, the new album is done. Yeah, we recorded it last month, and it's finished and ready to come out in June.
Are you playing songs of this album on the forthcoming album, then on this tour?
Yes. Yeah, we're playing at least one or two. Sometimes we've actually played 3. And they're getting a good response. We're happy with it.
If you weren't become a guitarist, what else would you have become?
I don't know. All I ever wanted to be was a musician, so I don't know what I would have done. Who knows? Something in the music business, one way or another.
Did you go to Asia with MadBall?
Yes. Yeah, we've been to Japan. We just recently went to Indonesia. It was the first time we'd ever been there. It was good. Good, very passionate fans there.
Did they wear the boots in the heat?
No boots.
The Spanish songs of your band are really nice.
Yeah, Freddie always tries to write something because his family is Latin speaking, Spanish speaking, and we have a lot of South American fans and a lot of fans in Spain here. So we always try to write 1 or 2 songs for that audience as well.
Do you speak Spanish? Yeah.
Not well.
No, because there's lots of animals in the lyrics. They're more poetic than the English ones.
Yeah.
Who's the song Novelty about?
That we're not going to say. It's not right to. If the person out there who that was written about reads it, well, maybe they'll know, but we're not going to go and say that directly. That's kind of the artistic license to secret meaning in there.
Did hardcore change?
Yeah, of course. All music changes.
But all still the DIY, punk and positive PMI, no? Positive mind awareness.
Yeah.
Are you vegan?
No, I'm not.
Have you ever been straight edge?
No.
Has ever been any band member straight edge?
Not in MadBall. Oh, yes, actually. We had our drummer from about 4 years ago. He was straight. We had Ben from this guy Ben Dussault.
You split with him in Canada.
He's from Montreal, and he's straight edge.
Okay.
Are we close to closing time or not? No? Mr. Security Man, are we close to closing time or not? No? Okay. I'm gonna scare y'all real quick with a song called White Trash.